All right, let's look at the charts real quick. Yesterday was a nice move for the miners and the metals, but is it just some short-term bounce? Let's take a look. So the DXY, you can see it came down yesterday. It's come down the last 2 days, but the bullish trend is still intact. Okay, I mean, this line here I can remove, but you can see this descending, we're hitting our head against it. I think we may, and actually we could look at the US dollar, Japanese yen, but we're more likely to go back up, test this. And if we start coming back up here, we're testing immediately, by definition, this long-term descending. So if we are going to retest the old highs from 2 or 3 days ago of up here, watch out, because it could be a breakout to here. So let's see if it closes outside of this. We could break out and then fall back in. That would be nice. So let's see. But I do think its natural tendency would be to retest this. Otherwise, a close below here and we could start moving all the way down. So really, it's simply 104 to 104 to 105, 104 to 105. Those are the levels that we need to see a close on a daily basis. And obviously tomorrow's Friday. But just to be a little more granular about it, look at the Japanese yen, US dollar versus Japanese yen. This is the all-important no-go zone. So if the dollar does start to rise all the way up to here, maybe central banks will want to push it back down, but technically it wants to triple top breakout, and this would be very detrimental to the Japanese. Well, this is like a system break area, and I remember the last time it came all the way up here, I said watch out, and it did come back down, but look, it's getting stronger and stronger. So watch out. Maybe the dollar does want to go up and break the system. Let's see what happens here. This in particular, out of all the currencies, is probably the most important one. The euro, sort of holding mid-range, nothing too crazy on the other ones that make up the dollar, the DXY. So DXY is probably going to rise a bit more, but there is a bit of a flashpoint coming. Let's look at the yields. They also, higher high sort of came back to breakout level and now rising again. That also looks like it wants to go back up. That's the 30-year, probably the most important one. 10-year also nicely, touched this resistance, came back down to breakout, rising back up again. So really, if you look at all of them, 5-year, exact same thing. 2-year, well, that's already broken out, but the exact same thing. Look at this perfect retest, perfect hammer, very strong, and this morning rising. So even the 1-year is actually in agreement. So the yields across the board are strong. They've retested and they're rising. That's, confirmation of continued strength. So yield and the dollar are likely wanting to move back up. Obviously, news can ruin that, but that's the natural tendency. Let's look at commodities straight away. So copper, that's come back down, but that's actually risen. So I remember low 3.7s has been support. Now we've gone below that. We know the metals have crashed, but it's gone back up, and I think it's clearly back within the range, this large range, 3.7, 395. So that's nice to see. If the markets are going down, the dollar's going up, that should put pressure on copper though. So it might not go all the way back up here, that's for sure. Should come back down, but let's see if it actually comes back down and holds this area. It depends really what happens to the markets also. Natural gas has just absolutely, very happy I've been out of that trade, but I would never have expected it to go all the way back down here. I remember thinking it should really hold this level, but it flushed it. And to be honest, natural gas has a way of flushing, closing on a daily basis below or above a trend line, and then reversing when it shouldn't. But this one really did do technically what should happen when it closes below a strong support zone, and that is just to keep going down. I do have a feeling it should bounce now, and if it does bounce, does it go all the way back up to price support? I don't know, but this natural gas, the widow maker, really made me a widow, let's say. This is crazy. It's so cheap. Look at that. That's historic stuff. Could it go to 1.5? Of course it could. But here, where it is now, 1.63, 1.5 is the same thing. I mean, people have to be buying this now. Long term, it depends on the instrument. Me, why did I get out? Because I was in the wrong instrument. I was in a decaying ETF, and that one's just gotten more destroyed. So it's just erodes you away. But this is a freaking buy, to be honest. Right, oil is very strong. All things considered, dollar going up, markets leveling off, but oil's still strong. Technically, you can see it held this on the drop. That was nice to see. So I think these trend lines are absolutely perfect. Nothing to add here, and I think it will go up. Even if the yields and the dollar goes up and the market goes down, I just feel like oil is disconnecting itself and has done for a couple of weeks, maybe from the general markets, from its general dynamics of the market. So it could just go back up, close above 80, and then pump very quickly to the top, to this descending area. Up there, then go sideways, and then go up again. And then we're going to have this extended line that we can play with again. So oil for me looks very strong. Uranium has come back down. So it gapped up all the way to the old highs. This you can see is a very, for now, it's strong resistance, and it should be, but uranium is still intact in terms of its bull trend. So up here on a gap, closed the gap, did a bit more, pumps back up, and then comes back down. But here, look, it's closing below this one. It's just showing still continued weakness here. Is that, and the market's been going up, but okay, oil and yields, I don't really know how much effect they have on uranium. I feel like uranium is pretty disconnected, a bit like natural gas, a bit like oil at the moment. But, if we start to lose the momentum here, and I know a lot of smart people have been selling, Rick Rule style, they still hold positions, but people have taken profits and chasing this. I mean, I'd love to be in uranium, but I'm not, and I'm certainly not chasing this. I would be one of those who would love to see a close below this ascending line, and then down we go. But still, intact bull market. I mean, it could just rise back up again and then close above here, and then off we go. If we just look at the uranium miners, actually, that's something I rarely do, but I would like to start doing more. That's actually stronger. Look at this chart. It hasn't come all the way back down as much, relatively speaking. And if it were to close below like this level here, this 51.5, you've got support here on the horizontal. You've got support on the ascending. So you've got lots of support in uranium if it were to come back down a bit more. Okay, let's look very quickly at gold and silver. Gold retraced its move back up. It's back above 2000. So that was nice to see it retrace, and it actually closed above. That was nice too. So are we just going to go back down again with yields and the dollar going up? I think we might actually. I mean, on the bullish side, it's closed above 2000. That's really nice, and it really could start trading back up here. It's just what I think is going to happen with the DXY and yields. You can see they're strong. You can see they want to make a retest of that, highs 2 or 3 days ago, and that should mean we come back down again. But maybe the gold and silver don't actually retest their lows, so we're still relatively strong. So we could come back down, but not go, below 1985 or whatever the low was. That would be realistic and slightly bullish also. But otherwise, if we hold whilst the dollar and yields go up, that would be amazing, because then when they retrace, gold will definitely go back up here and start testing basically this descending, and that's the best type of trade for me. It's the strongest trade to retest, to be testing a descending and close above it and break out. So gold, good. It's what you expected. It was strong yesterday. The miners were very good. We'll take a look at that. It's just I am aware of the dollar and yields wanting to go back up again. Silver, though, look at this. It held perfectly this level, and it was this one here. It wasn't 23, 22 itself. It was just below, just like before. So this was perfect technically, but very strong, very, very strong the last 2 days, definitely beating gold. It's trading back where gold was, where silver was for the last several weeks, unlike gold. So silver's actually relatively strong, which is good to see. So does it go below here if dollar and yields go back up? Probably not. It probably holds and probably closes above 22 every day. We'll have to take a look. Today is Friday, so that'll be nice weekly candles to take a look at over the weekend. Finally, the miners. Actually, you know what? Look at palladium, by the way. Look at this nice retest up here. Bam, all the way broke back out of its descending. So palladium looks quite good. Platinum's okay also, but they also did a sort of, a retest of their prior resistance, but they really closed nicely. So they actually outperformed gold and even silver, you could say. Palladium anyway may have outperformed silver there on the big move in the last 2 days. Anyway, the miners, nice also. Bam, all the way back up. This entire move from this level all the way down to this level, this is GXJ, completely retraced. We did close below, pretty much on the level, so, but that's understandable. So do we go back down again if the dollar and yields go back up? Yeah, we do. But again, I'm looking for a higher low if we do, a gap fill something and then back up again. And that would make a really nice bottom formation. So watch for that. SILJ, same sort of thing. Look at that, closes the gap. It doesn't get to retest perfectly. It's old support, but closes the gap. It's okay, you know, still a nice move. You know, this bounce here, it's not the best one, but from the low, 4 or 5%. GDXJ was a bit better, that's for sure. From the low, you know, up we were 5, 6, 6.5% at some point. GDX, I think, was just as good, if not better. Look at that. Definitely closed the gap, retest, but closes below prior support, so it's still resistance. But look at that, that's also, yeah, 5% move. And some of these miners, I mean, for example, my top one at the moment, SSRM, it still looks like a horrible chart, but I'm very happy to have bought. You know, I was buying the 460s. The highest I bought was 480 on this flush, but I did buy 378. I got the low. I also posted on StockTwits, which is quite nice. But anyway, look at this close at high of day. That was up 8% yesterday. Now, I don't expect this to start running all the way back up, but I'm holding this for a long term. Normally, I would flip it. I would have sold already a little bit. You know, sold what I bought 377. Tomorrow, if we go up, I'd be selling in the fives and day trading it or something. But I'm looking to hold this for several months at least. Basically, see it back at double digits for a huge gain. I'm going to try and do it that way this time. But that was a nice, you know, some of them really did do quite well. I mean, First Majestic, by the way, those who bought down here, which I didn't, even though I knew I should. This is probably the one I regret not buying. But who knows, you could get another bite at the apple. But some of them really moved quite well just yesterday alone, outperforming the index. So big moves, you know, Pan America, look at that, kind of copying GDX. Anyway, I'll do the portfolio update on the weekend. Let's see what happens today, but just watch out. GDX, gold, silver, the commodities could take a bit of a hit with DXY and yields going back up. But I think this options expiration today, so it should be crazy. We have news as usual. Let's see what happens. But so far, so good on the bounce, let's say. Good luck.